them at a young age. To only identify those limiting beliefs is a huge step. And then the next fun nugget is that we can actually have a life's work to overcome limiting beliefs. And Teresa, that is what you have done. You've done so many things along the way, but let's talk about the book because there's a few things in there. I want to talk about the 10 habits of highly influential people, but I also want to talk about what we don't want to do. You have that scenario, I think it's on the back of the book where, it's like, okay, you see this person or say you have coffee with somebody and that's totally fine. But then you see this big speaker on a stage, there's a line of people waiting to talk to that speaker. And you think, oh, well, I'll just invite them to coffee. And the answer is wrong. So it's not only about building influence and doing it right, but it's also about avoiding the stumbling blocks that can really cut off your sphere of influence.
Yeah, absolutely. It's almost like, we've learned one sport our whole life. Like we started playing in the sandbox and we learned, the rule of reciprocity. I do this for you and you do that for me. There's a ton of authors out there that talk about reciprocity and how it works. And then we bring that rule book into business. We start learning reciprocity when we start networking for business, right? Oh, if you want to create good chi with a client, you offer to buy them a coffee or lunch, right? And then you only have to phone up the head of a Fortune 500 company and offer to buy them coffee. And faster than you can say the word gatekeeper, you're going to learn there's a different set of rules that apply to the highly influential, right? And it's almost like you've suddenly switched from basketball to hockey. And if nobody gets you related to what the new rules of the game are, you're very quickly going to end up on your butt on the rink wondering why everybody's shooting pucks at you. So one of the reasons I wrote this book was because there were so many good people. I wanted them all to really be able to overcome those self-limiting beliefs that we all as human beings create when we're really young. And not just overcome them, but use them to motivate you, right? That's where the juice is. When you start to realize whatever that dominant inner dialogue you've been living with is, you can use it to propel you to do amazing things in the world instead of using it to pull you back from them. But I also wanted to write this book because sometimes it's as simple as just pointing out the paradigm to people. And then they're like, I always knew that. That's so easy. But someone needed to point it out to them to start with.
So I want to emphasize to listeners here that we all go, oh, we have these limiting beliefs. And there's all these blog posts that you can read about how to overcome the limiting beliefs. But what you're saying, Teresa, this is a fresh perspective. It's about actually using the limiting beliefs to your advantage. It's about harnessing them as motivation to overcome them and do something amazing. I also want to just insert as a fun nugget that influence is a game. And I love that because in EBC, we play all these fun games and it really, really makes a huge difference to look at it that way. But all games have rules. And what you've clearly outlined is that you have to play by the rules if you want to grow your influence. Let's quickly dive into these 10 habits of highly influential people. There's a lot, and I want to spend some time going over the pillars of the Evolutionary Business Council. Teresa, I've had so many people from the EBC on this podcast. It's going to be so much fun for me to actually link to all the folks because you have brought together, you've been a magnet for the most incredible people on this planet. So we're going to get there. So I'm just kind of seeding that for the listeners. But let's talk about the 10 habits of